What's really good, my people? Welcome into No Ketchup Chicago, for Chicago, by Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Little. Big Nick the Quick back in here.
Yeah.
We're back in here, bro.
It's been like a month.
It's been a while, bro.
The Super Bowl has happened. I don't think we ever got to talk Did we talk Super Bowl?
We didn't talk Super Bowl, none of that.
All-Star,
and
none of that.
And we're live right now. I checked the thing. We're good, man.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, man. We didn't get to talk Super Bowl. We didn't get to talk Ricketts.
Nope.
We didn't get to talk Machado.
We didn't get to talk Smollett.
We didn't get to talk. We didn't get to talk none of that. So yeah, I'm excited to be back in here, bro. It's been a minute.
Definitely.
We both been out of town a bunch. What you been up to?
Man, not too much, man. Just enjoying wintertime, man.
Yeah.
Kicking it, relaxing. Went to Austin a couple weeks ago for Sharp's bachelor party. Shout out Sharp.
Yeah.
Other than that, just been chilling, man.
Shout out Sharp. And listen, bro, I want to talk about that really quick.
Okay.
Yo, you know you my guy. I love you to death. We've been homies forever. I don't care where my homie's girl wants to get married. Stop dragging folks out to the middle of nowhere in the Appalachian Mountains, bro.
Yeah.
Our boy Sharp has got us going to somewhere in Virginia, and it's going to be like an hour and a half Uber.
Right.
And I probably shouldn't even be saying this because it's kind of bogus, but that's just keeping it 100.
Yeah.
It's a trek out there. You understand?
Trek, yeah, hitting the pocket, hitting the pockets a bit.
Yeah, no doubt.
But shout out Sharp getting married. It's gonna be a good time, man.
Yeah,
He was kind of telling me a little bit
it.
about what we're gonna be doing, and I hope the whole Saturday situation is gonna be a lot of fun. So look, it'll be different. You know what I'm saying? Something a little bit different, but
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it, especially because I haven't seen him in a while. I wasn't able to make it to the bachelor party.
Did you look at the spot we're staying at? It's like some countryside inn type looking type, you know what I'm saying, type spot.
It's in the middle of the mountains.
We're probably the first black people to ever stay there. I'm gonna keep it 100 right now. We will be the first black people that have ever stayed there. That's a fact.
It looks like that.
Yeah, 100%.
I haven't even looked at any pictures.
Yeah, we are the first black people to ever. We're gonna boldly go where no one's gone before. So I'm ready.
Okay, that's what's up. Now that we're back in here, the Cubs are on their way back, but of course we're gonna kick it off with the Bulls. It's been a wild month.
Yeah.
Up and down. They've showed us a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We didn't get to talk about Otto Porter. That was something else we didn't get to talk about.
Otto Porter trade,
man. So we missed a lot of stuff that we're excited to get back in here and start chopping it up about. We're going to talk about Machado not joining the White Sox.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about Darvish. So we'll get a little Cubs, White Sox action in. And then we're going to do a little cap, no cap, NBA.
The association.
Because we're going to talk as much NBA as humanly possible always because you already know what it is.
Yep.
Let's kick it off. The Bulls have been all over this month. Trading, winning games that we're not supposed to be winning, losing games we're not supposed to lose, blowouts here. We roll over somebody there. We rolled over the Celtics the other day at home.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to blow Milwaukee's doors off last night. We had a crazy first quarter, almost scored 40.
We thought no Giannis. It was
Giannis, and then we came out in the first quarter and we scored like 39 points, I believe.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be a runaway. Then we end up losing that game by 11. So it's just like an all-around up and down, a lot of stuff going on with the Bulls.
Yeah.
We didn't get to talk about that Paxson
the interview, the presser or the score. I'm sorry, the score interview was wild.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
so
he gave it to Parkins, and by the way, I think Parkins is a clown. You know what I mean? I'm not big on Danny Parkins. I think it was funny how he kind of gave it to him, but either way, he was very, very defensive. John Paxson, man, he's not going to sit there and take the criticism lightly. He hears you.
So he hears us.
He hears you. He hears everybody. He hears everybody.
That was kind of interesting because. You can tell because they don't come out and talk all that much.
No.
And it seems like they never do, honestly. Like
most GMs don't.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
But for as much heat and flack as they get, you would think you would hear from them more. But I guess why?
Look, how many times have you heard Bob Myers talk over in Golden State? Like when they win a championship, he's here, but like they usually don't. Like that was like a Paxson media, that was his media week.
Right.
That was meet the press for him, you know what I'm saying? So I think that you don't really hear them talk a lot, but he was ready to talk. I'll give him that too. I think I told you after the press conference, like agree or disagree with what he had to say, it was somewhat refreshing to hear him kind of come out lay out what he thought is his plan as far as what they're trying to do, and be passionate about it. Because, one of my biggest things about the Bulls, this whole entire rebuild, is that I don't think he's necessarily been clear on what it is we're trying to accomplish, right? I think he was realistic about us not being a free agent destination. Again, say what you want to about it. Agree or disagree. I mean, at least he told you, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we're trying to do. This is where we're at, and this is where we want to be. And you know me, I'm not a GarPax guy at all. I don't agree with how they're doing things. I don't agree with some of the decisions that they've made, but I'm not going to be mad at him for that for the 670 interview. I think he was pretty straightforward, and that's not like a presser. I mean, he was talking straight to the fans on that. You know what I mean?
And you could tell it was, and that 670 was after the presser. He was just kind of tired.
He was just tired. I'm done.
Like, enough of y'all.
Enough of y'all, man. It's our third rebuild. So what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So what?
How many? I'll give you another rebuild.
Yeah. What?
Like what
you gonna do about it?
Yeah. What you want?
Yeah. Jerry's on speed dial.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. We'll be okay.
Hey, but more and more as the season goes on, this guy Lauri Markkanen
hooping
looks like an animal.
Yeah.
Like a true ball player.
Yeah.
Earlier in the season, we actually talked at length about people were giving him flack about not graduating to that sophomore season. They were calling it the sophomore slump. Yeah. He wasn't doing this. He wasn't doing that. And we kind of
talking about after he got hurt, or when he first came back, or before he got hurt.
This is when he came back and was playing for a stretch.
Yeah.
And people were talking about, the sophomore slump's real. Like, look at Markkanen. He's not really developing into the player that we want him to be, all this, etc. But we kind of came to his defense like he's not in the most ideal offensive situation.
Not at all.
They're not running the break. Everything is half court and standstill. Very robotic type
Bobby
stuff.
Portis was still there.
Exactly. Yeah. Bobby Portis likes to get his shots up.
Bobby free agent Portis.
Yeah, Bobby likes to get his shots
Contract year Bobby needs his shots.
So that was another thing that we talked about. So we kind of came to his defense there. But almost since we've had that conversation, maybe a couple of weeks after that, they've opened it up, and he's showing that he could play the new age NBA.
Absolutely.
He's like the prototypical NBA player.
Yeah, and it's not just the sitting back and shooting threes. If you looked at him the other day, I mean, he's chasing after the ball at the rim. He's putting it on the floor a little bit. Obviously, the shot is there, and that's going to be his bread and butter, but he's rebounding at a high rate, which was a concern that we had coming out of college. Tipping balls in, playing hard all over the place. So, I mean, he's kind of playing like that star, and he's playing confident too. I think that's the biggest thing. I mean, you can't undervalue confidence in the NBA, right? If you got that confidence to go out there and play hard and feel like you should be taking some of those shots that he was taking in the Boston game, you know what I mean, and kind of putting it on his back, him and Zach. Zach was outrageous the other night. But towards the end of the game, it was really Lauri Markkanen, right? And I mean, yeah, that's what we want to see from the development, right? If we win games like that, and that's why we win games, I'm 100% fine with it, right?
Yeah,
say what you got to.
So you saying if Markkanen spazzes, and
you can build up Zach LaVine's trade value, absolutely.
And you can build up Zach LaVine. Hey man, listen. At least have an option. If LaVine's playing well, if we want to keep him, we have that option. Yeah. If we want to move him, we have that option. You just don't want to get in that spot where you're just buried on a bad contract, and you got to start doing stuff that you don't want to do just because we insta-match the deal right away type of thing. Yeah,
and let's say LaVine finishes strong over these next 25, 26 games, right? And there is some value for him in the summer. Depending on where you pick in the draft, he's tradable, right? If you're picking in that 1 or 2 spot, I would almost say, especially if you're in that 2 spot and you're picking up RJ Barrett, most likely, there's no room on the basketball court for RJ Barrett and Zach LaVine, right? RJ Barrett's going to get those shots, and you're more inclined to build around an RJ Barrett type guy than you are Zach LaVine. So I think if that's the case, he might be attractive to certain teams. Like, again, $20 million a year ain't what it used to be, you know what I mean? And that last year is an option, right? So if you can get some value for him, why not? I personally don't think you build around Zach LaVine, but at the same time,
Are you on where are you at? Are you all the way on the end where like he's really empty, just empty baskets?
Yeah, I think he's empty baskets. I don't think over a course of an NBA season, Zach LaVine is going to be the player that gets you to where you want to be as far as winning games. I think he's a good player, man. I mean, he's an exciting player. He's got good offensive game. It's just his style of play doesn't necessarily make anybody better. He's not elevating anybody. And and there's nights that he's just going to shoot you out of games. But it's different, and it's a fine line between like the guys who win you games and score 25 a game and the guys who lose you games and score you 25 a games. But there's definitely a difference. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't think he brings the rest to the table like that.
Fair.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, when it first happened, you know how I felt. I wasn't happy about it. I didn't want to instant match it. I wanted to keep the cap space for a lot of other things.
Yeah.
But he's showing that he could score and he could go out there and get baskets. We don't have to go down the cliche like he's not the best player on a deep run in the playoffs type of thing, but he can bring offense when it's needed. And
you need it right now. I mean, you need somebody has to score the ball for this team.
Right.
So, I mean, again, I don't have and I know you beat up on me last year for this, but, at this point, if we can win games with Lauri Markkanen and Chris Dunn playing out there, I mean, I know he's not very good, and when Wendell Carter comes back, I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, listen, want to know, okay, so we were talking about this before we hopped on live stream, right? Yeah. I have this battle with one of these dudes on Twitter, one of our homies. He's on the complete opposite side of, the Garpax rebuild and all that. Just so I'm clear, my fear is that the Otto Porter edition, it's a good addition. He's a good basketball player. Let's keep it 100. The Markkanen that holds the Jimmy Butler deal is looking like we won that deal. Markkanen's a monster.
Well, we definitely won it since he's not on the Timberwolves anymore.
Right. Wendell, he can play. He's hurt.
Yeah.
I can just see our trajectory as we're back to being a 40-win basketball team. I don't see without us being able to attract a really big name, I see unless we get Zion and he's who he's supposed to be, then that can take us to another level. But
so I think if you get Zion or
you kind of get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying. Yeah,
and next thing you know, Garpax and them are like, look, we're competitive again. And we're in the same position we were 2-3 years ago.
So I think a lot of it hinges on where this Lauri thing continues to go, right? If he could, again, this is only his second year, and he missed a large chunk of this year. So if he continues to get better and plays winning basketball and plays the type of basketball that contributes to winning games and grows into a star, I think it's a completely different conversation. I think when we first had that conversation, like you just said, Lauri wasn't really looking that way, right? It wasn't looking like he was going to be this type of player. And again, this is a short sample size, but if it's February is anything, he's going to be an impact player, right? So I think the Bulls, if that's the case, and then you move into that 1 or 2 spot and get Zion or RJ Barrett, I think at that point, man, the Bulls might be a point guard away. We have very bad point guard play and have had very bad point guard play for 3 years.
That's
right?
A good point.
So a player like Lauri Markkanen, I mean, a shooter like that and who's going to be great on catch and shoot, those type of dudes, he needs a good point guard, right? Wendell Carter needs a good point guard, right? Those guys need guys that are going to set them up. We don't have those guys that are going to set them up. Otto Porter, right? He's not a creator. Those guys need good point guards. So I think if you're able to get an elite point guard or an elite point guard prospect, you can go a long way with this. So let's say you miss out on Barrett and Williamson and you grab my man's John Morant. And let's say he's the real deal in the NBA. Okay, fine, great. Point guard is funny, man. It's like they say there's so many point guards in the NBA and there's a surplus of point guards, but that doesn't mean there's a surplus of good ones. It's kind of like quarterback in the NFL. You can find someone to play the position and, you know what I'm saying, run it out there for you, but impact ones, good ones, really make a difference, especially when you're trying to develop young talent. So I think a point guard is A1 thing for them, especially because Lauri Markkanen is not like a perimeter, give me the ball, James Harden type of player where he's going to be a creator like that.
You're talking about a true pass first point guard.
Not necessarily. Somebody who's dynamic. Somebody who's someone who's not Chris Dunn. I mean, Chris Dunn is at the low end of point guards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't need to be like a Rondo or a Lonzo Ball, your traditional, I'm not looking to score a guy, but someone who can make plays. I'm looking for a playmaker. So it doesn't need to be a traditional set-em-up guy.
Those elite point guards put so much pressure on the defense because they can literally do whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want.
You want me? You're going to give me a bucket? Here's a bucket.
Yeah. Or you're going to guard me? I'm a dish.
Yeah. You want me to penetrate and dish?
Right.
Find the open man, no problem.
So that's why if you fall out of the RJ Barrett or if you fall out the Zion thing, you take a hard look at a Morant. You know what I mean? I get it. I think I think it was CJ McCollum and Dame Lillard both had interesting quotes about Morant. like about the small school guys. They're like, look,
Right.
you really want to know if a guy's good? Look at guys at a small school because every single night the attention is on them. John Morant's not playing with other great. He's not playing with other great players, so he's seeing double and triple. Bro. It was kind of a good point if you think about it. Like RJ Barrett, right? How many is he seeing double teams all day?
Is RJ Barrett seeing double teams all day? No,
the attention's on Zion or the attention's on Cam. If you're John Morant, they're not. I could not name another player on that ball club.
I couldn't name another player in the whole conference.
Exactly. So it's like 4-on-1 John Morant. He's out here putting up like 28 and 12.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So, but whatever. Like you said, those elite point guards put so much pressure, and they open up shit for the other guys. And when you got a guy like Markkanen again, who would definitely benefit from playing with a great point guard. I mean, yeah. That's why the Mavs want to go get Kristaps.
Yeah.
They said, we got a good point guard. We got Luka. Let's go get Kristaps. Let's see what we can do here. You know what I'm saying? So those creators are a big thing.
Give me a second on this.
Yep. And I also think, again, Porter's a complimentary player too. So he would serve from, if you put good players around them, Porter's fine. He ain't no superstar.
No, he's a great little piece though.
He's a piece.
No, he's a piece.
And like, don't talk about what happened in Washington. Washington's been one of the most dysfunctional teams in the NBA for years. You know what I mean? They've never been Bradley Beal and John Wall have never liked each other. You know what I mean? So it's always been a clusterfuck over there. So
yeah, fair enough.
Let's change the scenery, guy.
The big win the Bulls had was against the Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know we've been talking about the Celtics a bunch. How do you feel about that W? And then, but what I'm really getting at is I want to start talking about a little bit of Kyrie.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, after every ball game, he's got something to say, and the Bulls game was no different. How do you feel about him, the Celtics? Because what you mentioned to me was when you were watching that game, that didn't seem for you. It wasn't the Bulls are turning the page, which they are, and they showed a little bit.
Yeah.
But more that jumped out to you was the Celtics might be kind of huff.
Yeah. And I think we'll talk about this a little more in the cap or no cap. But like, yeah, when you watch the Celtics play, they don't enjoy playing together at all. Right? There's no chemistry. There's talent all over the place, right? And they'll make plays. And if you look at that game, Kyrie almost got him back into the game at the end of it because he's that talented. You know what I mean? But you watch them play, and they don't have any chemistry. It just doesn't look like a well put together. And I'm sorry, not a well put together team, but a team that enjoys playing with each other. So for me, I'm happy to see that the Bulls took advantage of that. Right? The Bulls were out executing them. The Bulls were playing harder than them. The Bulls were out scrapping them. I love seeing that, but I don't look at a win versus the Celtics, especially the Celtics in this current state, as like a marquee type win. Only because I mean they're not playing up to their potential. If you were to beat the Raptors like that, if you were to beat the Bucks like that, the Sixers on the right night, like yeah, for sure. But the Celtics have been up and down all year long. They cannot put a run together.
Yeah, it was interesting. Kind of our boy Darnell Mayberry from The Athletic. I always read his notes.
Yeah,
and he was talking about some of these big wins that we had at Brooklyn, at Miami, home against the Celtics, and kind of one thing he mentioned was those wins have been predicated on huge games from our stars.
Yeah,
like the other night when Markkanen and Lauri went for like 80 combined.
Exactly.
I think it was 77 combined, right?
Yeah.
And there was another game where on 18 shots, I think it was at Brooklyn, Markkanen scored 28 points.
Yeah.
Had like 18 rebounds. And then Bobby Portis almost scored 30 before we traded him.
Right.
So it was like, let's see if we can string this together, or is this just dudes going crazy getting W's? But I think, like you said, if it's our stars that are wilding out and we're getting wins, the tank.
You can live with that.
You can live with it, I guess.
We're still 4 games behind Atlanta for that third spot.
Listen, it almost doesn't matter to me now. I want to tank because I want to get Zion, but the odds are how they are now.
14% chance.
Right, it is what it is. We messed up the tank 2 years ago.
You'll never.
I'll never leave that alone because that was like a blatantly like you need to tank. You can pick whoever you want out of that plethora of players: Luka, Trae Young, Mo Bamba, whoever you wanted.
You end up with Wendell Carter,
Jackson. Wendell's all right,
Triple,
but like
Triple J is nice.
Triple J is nice.
Triple J is real nice.
Triple J is really
and he's
nice.
like 19.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So like you could have had those opportunities to kind of pick those players, but we messed that up because we were on like what direction.
So do you think Wendell? I mean, even if you like Wendell Carter, whatever it might be, he's just kind of like the safe pick, but not like the sexy pick. Like you don't think he'll ever be a major impact player? Because his biggest comparison is Al Horford, and I know you don't love Al Horford, but if Wendell Carter Jr. becomes Al Horford, I'm fine.
No,
Al Horford is nice.
Listen, I've come around.
You just look at points per game, and you're like, "Oh, Al Horford's weak."
I've come around on Al Horford a little bit.
He's nice. You got to watch the games
because if anything, he makes an impact. He's one of those dudes where like the stat line won't tell you what's going on.
Yeah,
he makes an
great
impact.
Defender. Yeah, he's like a Joakim Noah type player.
No doubt. But yeah,
his college teammate.
Listen, the year to tank, we didn't do it.
Yeah,
that was the last year before they changed the odds and all that stuff. We didn't do it. And now we're in the kind of situation where they want to win, man. Boiling they seem like they want to win right now. It doesn't matter like if it's 25 games, if it's 30, whatever. There's still like a little bit of gray area on what they want to do, but we got a lot. It's so much stuff to talk about and so much stuff going on that I just want to And what have we been saying the last 6 months? It's all about developing our young talent.
Yeah,
Lauri's coming into his own. Dunn is a question mark.
It's trash.
Well, Dunn is a question mark.
You know what? Chris Dunn will settle into to be a nice role player in the NBA who will come in and give you 15 to 20. Chris Dunn will reappear in like 5-6 years on a really good team. Like, oh, they're putting in Chris Dunn for a defensive stop. You know?
Yeah.
I can see that for him because he's a dog on D, and that keeps you in the league.
Is he gonna be a starting one that's you're like, wow, we're locked in at the one for the next 10 years? He's not that.
He's going to realize his role to be scrappy, play D, get buckets when you can, and if he accepts that, he'll stay in the league. He'll be fine, but he's not. Again, you can't build you can't have these guys and these are your foundational pieces and Chris Dunn is your starting point guard. You just can't do it.
Yeah.
You got to get somebody else in there.
I agree. The Bulls are always fun. They're in Memphis tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Shout out Joe Kim. That'll be fun. He'll try to do something.
Yeah.
He's the best. But
Joe, no.
Let's switch over to some baseball because that shit's around the corner.
Yeah.
Spring's around the corner. I know it doesn't feel like that. It's March 1st, essentially. Mm-hmm. Baseball is on our way back. And the big talking point for the White Sox was we're young, we have a ton of cap, and we're going to try to sign Manny Machado.
Yeah, I mean, it was bigger than that. I mean, all signs pointed towards the Sox doing that, right?
Right.
Yep.
And I know that's old news almost now, but there's something I wanted to kind of talk to you about that.
Okay.
How did you feel about that? And then I have a after I get your initial thoughts, I have a specific question that I want to ask you about that. But yeah, how did you feel about it? Should they have gone after him no holds barred, or did they kind of pussyfooted a little bit?
So I'm not, I'm not Johnny Baseball, obviously, but I am a White Sox fan, and I did pay attention to this particular situation because, to be honest, I would love to see the White Sox be good again. I think with some of the moves that they made as far as developing the farm system and bringing up some of these young guys who look like they could be something, everything that they did for this rebuild, and they were pretty honest about it, was we want to develop young talent, right, through trades. We trade Chris Sale, get some guys back, and when that time comes, we want to spend money on a marquee free agent, right? So you checked one box. You traded away your good players. You got good players back. And then it was time to check that second box. Yeah, you were scared to jump in the water. I think if it came down, first off, look, the $300 million shouldn't have surprised them. The whole time from the outset of free agency, the number was 10 years, $300 million.
The number started with a 3.
It was 10 years, $300 million, because that's what Bryce Harper turned down from the Nats, right? So everybody said, okay, that's the going rate is $300 million, right? So it should not. So seeing Kenny being like, we're floored that he signed for that, it's like, no, you're not. I knew what he was looking for, right? And then it comes out that we had offered 8 years, $260 million, which is a little bit more per year, but less on the total deal. And then some incentives that could have pushed it over 300. And he decided to go to San Diego, the Padres, right? Not a marquee franchise by any stretch of the imagination, and definitely not in a huge market. For $40 million more, which tells me he was interested in two things: the years and the total dollars, right? Which, if you were so dead set on signing him, you should have known that. You had the upper hand the entire time. You signed his best friend. You signed his brother-in-law. Everybody was talking about the White Sox are at the top of the list, right? And you mean to tell me you lose out on him for 2 years and $40 million? 2 years and $40 million? And we looked at the contract. It's not some contract where, like, in year 10 he's making $48 million. It's a straight $30 million per year. So we're talking about in 2030, what is $30 million going to look like? It's going to look like what $20 million looks like right now, right? So what were you so worried about? Not to mention, he's 27 years old. So it's not handing Pujols an 8-year deal when he's 32.
No, I don't even think he's that old.
He's 27. He turns 27 in July. So he's 26 right now. Bryce Harper's 25. He turns 27 in July, right? So he's 26.
Correct. Yeah.
So you're talking about the scary years of that contract, which would be the last couple years, right? He's going to be 36 and 37. Again, this isn't Pujols being 40 in an Angels uniform making $32 million a year. You're talking about a guy who's premier player right now in his prime, early, right? At 26, is a 4-time All-Star. He's hit 30 home runs or 33 home runs in the last 5 years. 5-tool player, great defensive player.
Wild, OD on the defense.
OD on D, and he hits well. I mean, he's a 5-tool player, and he plays a position of need. He's a corner infielder. So I mean, it's kind of like what for $40 million, Doug? It's one thing if he went to San Diego for like 360, and we're like, look, we weren't trying to spend that extra $100 million, but you're talking about $40 million when you're not going to spend it on Harper. We know you're not signing Bryce Harper, and you have no one else to spend it on. And it completely sets your rebuild backwards. So, yeah, I was disappointed that it was over $40 million because it's not like he went to the Yankees where it's like, oh, we just can't compete with them. What are the fucking Padres?
You know what I think it is, too, that's going to be big is that, as you know, us being from Chicago, you need, with one of your squads, you need that thing to hang on to.
Yeah.
Like, even when shit's bleak.
Especially for the White Sox.
You're like, yo, let's go to the South Side and go see Machado. Like, that's it.
More so than any franchise in the city.
Like, they'll lose, but I haven't seen Machado. Let's go see Machado.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You got to pull people. Yeah.
So that's kind of more the thing. At least it's just like, okay, we have Machado. He's going to be here for a long time.
We can sell tickets off that.
100%. And you just give the fan base something to watch at least.
Yeah.
Something to do. Like,
yeah.
It almost is taking a step back now because it's like, all right, you gave us some hope on this. We really believe what y'all are saying. It seemed like y'all were going to go out and get it. Then we see the contract that y'all offered. Y'all kind of lowballing him a little bit. And then now he's gone, and now y'all hyped this up, and it's nothing now. Yeah. It's a complete step backwards.
$40 million over $40 million.
Now, I have a question on it. This is directly to you as a White Sox fan. Would you have given him that the extra 40 they didn't offer him, the full 10 years, if you knew those last 2 or 3 years, say the last 2.5 years, he was bad and he was kind of done with baseball?
Absolutely.
You give it to him anyway?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because baseball contracts aren't prohibitive like NFL and NBA contracts are, to where there's a salary cap. So at that point, like, yeah, you're paying Manny Machado a lot of money to suck, but he's not necessarily stopping you from signing other players, especially like what we just said, the contract does not escalate. So it's $30 million in 2028, 2029 terms, right. Which if we would have looked at 10 years ago, what was $20 million? That's a lot of fucking money, right? Right now, $20 million is like, we can live with that. We could eat that. We could pay a guy $20 million who's not quite as good as he was, right? So you're talking about a straight 30 per. 30 million and 20, maybe even if it's 3 years before it's done, fine. 2026, 2027, 2028, whatever it might be. Those could be the scary years, right? But you have a better chance of that not happening because guess what? He'll be 34, 35, 36.
Right.
It's not a 40-year-old past his prime. We're signing you at the end of your prime, Albert Pujols. Those deals scare people. Cabrera, the extensions, that type of shit scares people, right? But this is a young player who does a lot more than just one thing. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like you said, to your point.
What about his attitude, though?
The Johnny Hustle thing?
Yeah.
Look at his numbers. Baseball, and this is it's funny when we talk about the Celtics and the chemistry and shit, right?
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't know if it matters as much in baseball. If you have a guy, it's not like he's a bad guy. He just said, yo, I'm not going to go out there and be Johnny Hustle.
You mean it doesn't matter so much in baseball just because, like, if you're a bad man, you're going to go out there and put up numbers regardless.
Doesn't matter.
Bad team or not.
You go out there and put up your numbers.
But I think, to play devil's advocate, I think people are worried that, hey, it's a bad combination to be on a bad baseball team.
Mm-hmm.
After you've been there already 3 or 4 years, y'all are still bad. Just hyperbole.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, right? They're still really bad. And now he's on the back end of this deal making $30 million. And now it's like, all right, the team's bad. I'm just kicking it in the dope city, making tons of money, and, like, I'm just chilling. It's easier to pack it in and kind of slow down if, like, what's his motivation, in other words?
But my point is this. If your whole strategy is built around signing that marquee free, there's risks in everything.
Yeah.
What if it doesn't? And again, it's not like he's Milton Bradley. Like, he's not like, oh, man, the word about Manny Machado is like you can't have him in the clubhouse. The Dodgers added him for a World Series run, right? So it's not like we're looking at it. He just said, I'm not Johnny Hustle. Okay, great. You know what? He had 37 home runs last year. He drove in over 100 runs.
Yeah.
He's a Gold Glover. He's an all-star, and he's fucking 26 years old. And he fits in a spot where you need help.
And I will say this, and I know it's before he got the big money. It's not like Baltimore's been...
Yeah, they've been a bad team, too.
They've been a bad team, too.
Yeah, it's not like he's been winning for the last 8 years playing on Boston.
I know, right?
You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's like he doesn't really know. He didn't know winning until he came over to the Dodgers. But again, it's like if your strategy, and that's your public strategy, is we're going to acquire a ton of young talent, right? Trade away our assets, acquire a young talent that we won't trade away and that will develop and nurture, all to center it around a big free agent who now they're not going to get any cheaper. Next year's free agent class isn't going to be under $300 million if you have a marquee guy. Now the market gets set every year. Contracts don't go down, right? This isn't the NBA where there's a salary cap and it stalls. Contracts don't go down. Baseball's a free market, so it's not like the next guy who's going to be any cheaper. So you say, hey, what are we worried about the last 2 years of Manny Machado? He's 27 or 26. You sign him. You give your fans some hope. The Sox need to draw some fans in there. No one's going to come in to watch the rebuild this year. The most exciting thing about the rebuild last year was Kopech. Guess what? He's not pitching this year.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he's going to have Tommy John.
Oh, yeah, he did.
Yeah, Tommy John. He's out this year. So we'll see him in 2021.
No, but when you come back from Tommy John, though, it seems like you got a little extra bionic.
Yeah, he's not back this year. Right. He's out the entire year. So it's like, to your point, like, yeah, you got to sell your fans something. Manny Machado was a very easy thing to sell the fans after this very painful rebuild.
Why you keep calling him Machado?
Machado. I don't know why. Because the CH makes it was like.
Where you get that?
I don't know.
Where you get Machado?
I don't know why I got Machado. Maybe I want him to be Manny Machado. You know what I'm saying?
Machado.
Maybe, Manny Machado.
Put that on a T-shirt, Manny Machado.
But yeah, and then again, I mean, you lost him to San Diego. I mean, it's the Padres. So winning wasn't important.
That's interesting that you would, knowing that you would give up the last 3 years, you'd pay him anyway.
If you want him, you pull him on the table. You say, look, what's it going to take to get it done?
Right.
And if you said 10 years, $300 million, fine. But not $40 million over 10 years is so petty.
Yeah.
When you're not spending that money on anybody else anyways, I think the highest paid player on the roster is Jose Abreu. And he didn't make cash like that.
Right. Yeah, no, that's a good point.
You traded away Chris Sale, man. Come on now.
Yeah, he was an animal too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These are the once-in-a-generation type pitchers, one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball.
He's been like that for a while.
So when you trade away a player like that, you got a couple years before you got to give the fans something back, someone to root for. You got to go to the park. So I am disappointed. I think it was cheap. But, hopefully these young guys do their thing.
It's still early
I'm not coming back
in the build-up. But, yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. It would have been nice to get someone that you could go out there and root for. You know what I mean? Get a jersey, do all that.
Yeah.
So, switching over to the Cubs. I want to talk about one specific thing because I think this is a major, major, major deal in the Cubs season coming up. I think the odds to win the World Series came out, and the Cubs are like 4th or 5th. So they're right there. They're going to be a good baseball team, right? Big question mark is Darvish coming back.
Pitching in general.
Talking point, I was listening to Cap and Co today on ESPN 1000.
Shout out Cap and Co.
Yeah, I rock with Cap and Co.
Yeah, for sure.
Jesse Rogers, talking Cubs. He said that Yu Darvish, and Theo said this as well, that he thinks Yu Darvish will be better now that he's getting more comfortable with his English and plans to talk to the media without his interpreter. He thinks if he's more comfortable in the clubhouse with the media, then that'll translate to him being more confident on the mound. You think that's a real thing?
No, because it's not like this is his first time playing in a major media market.
Right.
He played in Dallas and he played in L.A. Right? He played for the Dodgers and the Rangers. Those are two of the 6 largest media markets. So, I mean, more comfortable? What do you – no.
Well, this is what I'm – well, he's planning on not pitching – he's planning on not talking with an interpreter to the media. His English is getting better with his teammates, etc. I think it's an interesting take. I think with certain mental players, and baseball is very mental, especially pitching, you never know what can make someone more comfortable. I think if it's on his mind that say last year, like when he was struggling, damn, I'm going to have to go talk to the media with my interpreter and I'm going to have to go do all this shit. And it's that stuff like that starts to snowball. If you like it or not, you can call him soft. You can call him a lot of different things. But I still think all that stuff kind of goes into how you're pitching every 5th day.
Sure.
So if he gets more comfortable and feels like he could go out and talk to the media and they're not bashing him and he feels comfortable kind of opening up a little bit, that might give him some more confidence to go out there every 5th day. I think it's little things with baseball players that could completely turn shit around, no doubt.
Yeah, I always heard the reason he didn't want to use, or he can speak English, but he'd use his interpreter because he doesn't want to say the wrong thing. Right. So my biggest fear would be he says the wrong thing and then it backfires on him, and then it has the opposite effect. But hey, if that's what they think might help, and I don't think Joe Madden says that unless Yu Darvish comes to him and says, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking," or his people come to him and say, "Hey, you know what I mean?" So yeah, if they feel like that's gonna work, that's fine. It needs to work. They paid him a lot of money.
Listen, and Theo thinks it'll help, so I'm rocking with Theo. I don't know if you guys caught my last pod, a little rant. I talked about Theo Epstein. He is silky smooth, bro. Yeah. Every time he opens his mouth, it's very calculated, very thought out, very thorough, very smooth. Just smooth dude. Like when Barack would say something, it was just like, oh, okay. Yeah. Never thought about it like that.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When he says something, it's not tone deaf. He gets like the implications on the Cubs and the city and the organization. Like everything he answers about Joe Madden is just on point.
Yeah, he won a World Series. He's got a lot of goodwill.
Yeah, like he has a ton of goodwill.
You know what I mean? Let's not forget about that.
You said if he loses,
if he hadn't won a World Series, that you'd be like, man, I don't know what the fuck Theo's talking about. He's lost his mind. So let's not act like that doesn't. Yeah, let's not overhype it. But again, that's what winning a World Series does for you.
Facts.
Yeah.
But I guess when you have the combination of both, it jumps off the page.
Yeah, you're smooth and you're a proven winner. It's like, yeah, for sure. I've lifted 2 curses.
Do you think Javy can put that back to back?
I don't know, like man. That? He was ridiculous last year.
Because I'm not.
Baseball is so weird like that. Because baseball is so year to year for guys. You know what I mean? Like you won't see an NBA player go from averaging 25 to 1 year to like 15 the next, unless he's Vince Carter trying to get out of Toronto. But
yo, you know how I'll never let go of the Bulls messing up that tank. You'll never let go of Vince Carter.
The Vince Carter love is so funny to me. Like all these pundits that want to hate on everybody. Like Vince Carter straight up was averaging. Look up the stats. He was averaging 14 points a game on like 38% shooting in his prime. So stop playing. But so like yeah, I don't know. I mean it's hard, but Javy's young. He's a great player. He's got a shit ton of confidence. So I mean he obviously believes he can go do it. I just don't know. I mean yeah. I don't know. Yelich had a ridiculous year, and I think that's just the only reason why he wasn't able to come out on top on that MVP trophy voting. But aside from the MVP, yeah, I think he's gonna have a good year.
Yeah,
I think he puts it all together, man. Like his style of play, I think Joe Madden's the perfect manager for him because Madden allows him to do the stupid shit that leads to the spectacular shit.
He just lets him play ball.
You got to let him play ball.
Yeah.
Too many people would try to regulate that and be like, oh, no, that's too crazy.
Tag like this.
Yeah, because he'll make some mistakes, but for every mistake, he's going to make 5 plays that other people aren't going to make just from sheer effort and attempting it. So, why not?
Let's switch over to the NFL.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about a couple things. Really quick, Cody Parkey
gone
will be released. Also, on the same breath, Robbie Gould got a franchise tenure from San Francisco.
Yeah, that was going to happen the whole time.
Yeah, that was going to happen the whole way, right? So, first off, how do we address the kicker situation? Should we try to go look at someone in the draft? Or did you go pick someone off the street? Off the street by, I mean, just another kicker that seems like he'll be reliable and can get it going.
You probably just go, you go the reliable route unless you have somebody in the draft in mind that you're really strong on. But
what's the earliest you would pick a kicker? Like the 5th round?
So the Bears aren't in a position to take a kicker early. We don't have enough picks.
Yeah, fact.
So we can't really use, as much as we need a kicker, draft picks aren't luxuries to us right now, right? We only have so many over the next couple of years between the Trubisky deal and the Mack trade. So we kind of have to use them wisely. And like I said a couple months ago, the Bears need to focus on adding depth because we cannot expect to be as healthy as we were this year or next year. So if that case, you probably have to use some of that money that you got and go the free agent route. I wouldn't even a 5th round, a 6th round pick, a 7th round pick on a kicker to me right now. I'd just be like, that's irresponsible because we just don't have enough picks to go around. And the best way to build depth is through draft picks.
Yeah.
So you need to start looking at like, can we get a guy in the 6th round? Maybe that can be the 6th corner. You know what I mean? Like that's more important than a kicker right now. Unfortunately, not the 6th corner, but you know what I mean.
If there's one thing that Ryan Pace can't do, it's pick kickers.
Yeah.
That's the only thing he hasn't been able to do well so far, it seems like. So hopefully we can get that right because we're going to need to get it right because we're going to have a very similar football team next year.
Yeah.
They actually, on Cap and Co. as well, were getting in arguments about, like, this one dude called in and said, essentially, Cody Parkey's getting too much blame. Matt Nagy, the offensive genius, only scored 6 points, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one way of looking at it. Yeah.
So it was interesting.
Well, the fact of the matter is Cody Parker, we don't
even got to go down that hole, right? But the next big story is Bobby Kraft, Robert Kraft. Bobby Kraft. Now, let's get this out of the way really quick. Me and Big Nick the Quick, no Ketchup Chicago, in no way, shape, or form support human trafficking, sex trafficking.
Not at all.
Never would support someone being forced to doing something they didn't want to do.
100%.
Now, let's end it there.
Yep.
This is a wild, hilarious story to me. This is like one of the funniest stories I've caught in a minute.
For sure.
Like this, this cat was essentially, this is what he did. When we had a little free time, he would shoot down to the massage parlor, get a little toppy, get a little tuggy, and go about his day. Now, the most wild part to me is like he's pulling up to the spot in a Bentley. He's hopping out the Bentley, going in there for 15 minutes, coming out.
Does he have his Champions chain on?
Like, no disguise, no nothing. Like, what was your first thoughts when you heard the story?
I wasn't surprised, not in the least bit. I'm telling you, when I saw him in the Dream Chasers chain and the Comb Day fucking pullover, I was like, yo, my man's he's all the way out there kicking it with Meek Mill. He just
does whatever he wants.
Does whatever he wants. Like, he's clearly at like that three-quarter life crisis. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't surprised. I just thought, I always feel like if you got that much money and you want to do like shit like that, there's so many other ways to go about doing it.
Yeah, bro.
He couldn't have somebody come to the car, come to the crib, to the hotel. You got money, you got flunkies. Just like, yo, go out and get me someone who's good with the tug. I'm gonna sit up over here at the Mondrian and I'll wait. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
But like, why are you going to the strip mall?
The strip mall in Florida?
Yeah, you know somebody was in there probably at the Walmart Greens next door one day. Is that Bob Kraft pulling up? Yeah, what's Bobby Kraft doing over here with the Champions chain on? He's wild. Like, So I think that was the wild shit about it to me. But then, like, at the same time, man, these people never. I don't know. To me, I'm doing it like Jim Irsay. I'm rolling around with the briefcase full of the like 100,000 ones, or whatever they caught him with. Remember that shit? The owner of the Colts, they caught him with a briefcase full of ones and cocaine and shit. Like, he was riding around the limo getting it in. He just happened to get pulled over. I don't know. To me, it's like the equivalent of like going looking for hookers on the street if you're one of these super rich dudes. Like, bro, aren't there services for that?
100%.
Don't you got the Elliot Spitzer little service that, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's up with that?
You're a billionaire.
Billionaire, bro, with a B.
With a B.
With a B, capital.
There's so many other ways to go about this.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he was doing is the last thing you should do.
Yeah. Which makes me think of it might be like a thrill thing, though. Maybe it's just too easy for him to make that call. That, like, he wants to, let me go to a seedy place and get jerked off. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause that shit is edgy. You know what I'm saying? They wouldn't expect that from me. It's so much different than my life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
And I bet you that's probably exactly what it was.
It's probably some thrill chasing shit. Yeah.
I'm gonna just slide him 100 and get out of here.
Yeah, I'm gonna get out of here.
He went over there before the AFC Champ game. Before
he was
his
stressed.
Fight, but Pat Mahomes had
before he hopped on the PJ, he needed the BJ. You know what I'm saying? Before you hop on the PJ, you need the BJ.
Pat Mahomes had him wild.
Wild, man. Say, hey, man, this light skinned dude's gonna drive me crazy, man.
Mahomes had him wild.
I need the double lubrication joint. So yeah, I mean, you know, I think it's wild that like they're going after the client list. I've never understood that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've never understood going after the client list or what exactly that does, other than to like bring shame. I guess it's a deterrent for other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, they were quick with the Bobby Kraft was a member.
Well, I guess how they popped him was after he pulled off, they pulled him over.
Yeah.
And ID'd him and then let him go or something, like warning ticket type thing.
Yeah.
But yeah. He's pulling up to the spot with a driver in a Bentley.
Well, then Schefter reported that there's other famous people involved, but none of that's come out. So I think that might be some bullshit. But they say Tiger Woods stays like 5 miles from the spot.
Nah, don't bring my guy Tiger into
it's
this,
Tiger. Man. I'll be there at 5. I want the tug with the lube. Thank you, Tiger. WOODS. Yeah. Password is Masters 08. That voicemail is still wild, hilarious.
Doug, it's the wildest.
If my wife calls you, just delete my number, Tiger.
It's the wildest of all time, bro. All right, let's switch over to the association.
The Assoc.
We got a little segment we're going to do, cap or no cap. Couple interesting questions.
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking about it while we're doing the show, actually, right now. Go ahead, jump into them, bro.
Yeah, so cap or no cap, kind of like shot or no shot. So I'm gonna give you a statement.
True or false?
You tell me if it's all for the viewers at home. You tell me if it's all cap or no cap. All right. So the first one I got. This has been a hot topic around the little talking heads. LeBron and the boys, man. The Lakers won't make the playoffs. Is that cap or no cap?
That's no cap.
No cap. Not making it.
Now listen. Before the groin injury, LeBron James, they were playing well.
Yeah.
The Lakers were hooping. From what I saw last night, with him just kind of standing around and all that stuff, he was in Memphis, I think.
Was it Memphis last night?
Last night they were in Memphis, and there was a whole bunch of clips of him just not guarding anybody and not doing anything. And combined with his post-game comments, he's in that LeBron mode where it's like, I want everyone else to prove some shit to me.
Yeah.
We know what I can do. Like, he's not in the let's save the day mode, LeBron. Like, okay, I'll just carry everybody. Like, I don't think he wants to do that.
Yeah.
I think he wants to see what these other dudes can do. He kind of just stepping back, doing whatever. And I think this is also going to get him to leverage some changes that he wants next season. We didn't make the playoffs because this is him. This is LeBron behind the scenes next year.
With Rob Pelinka and
Listen,
Magic.
we didn't make the playoffs because this, and this. I think we need to make this, and this many changes. And I think that'll help his cause because they didn't make the playoffs, and they haven't made the playoffs in 5 years in a row now.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be one of those things. I don't think they make the playoffs because I don't think he's really gonna try to carry them to the. He is not in the mindset and wanted to go to LA to try to carry them to the 8th seed to play the Warriors. Like, he He knows what's going to happen if they get the 8th seed. He's not in it for making the playoffs to play the Warriors. So that's why I think he's going to be like, I'm good. So I'd rather not make the playoffs than have to go up against the Warriors, because then I'm really going to get some flack because we're going to get our doors blown off for real.
So I go no cap on this as well, but I agree with you 100% if you were to take out LeBron with everything you said and then replace it with his teammates. LeBron just spent the last 3 weeks trying to trade half of y'all, right? So when he's going out there throwing out these statements, like, which he's done before on other teams, right? I want to see what everybody else can do. I want to see who's going to fight, right? The difference in previous years is those teammates were willing to fight for LeBron because they were all in. If you're Kuzma, Lonzo, Brandon Ingram, you know that he just spent the last however many weeks publicly, right, with his agency trying to trade you. So for what reason do you have to fight hard for LeBron just so you can be the 8th seed, get bounced, and then get traded inevitably anyways? So he can't rally these guys around him. Like before that Kevin Love shit, that mental games that he'd do that would sometimes get Kevin Love to wake up and start playing hard. Yo, those guys believed in Bron, right? Those guys 100% believed in Bron. They knew at the end of the day Bron's going to be there to carry us. These dudes are looking like, bro, you came in here on some family shit, got hurt. While you were hurt, started plotting, right? While we're over here playing, you're plotting, right? Publicly plotting to trade us. Right? I mean, there's a new trade rumor every day, and you're behind it. You're not squashing none of that shit. Publicly campaigning for AD, and then it doesn't happen your way because, let's face it, the Rich Paul situation, they botched that situation hard, right? So now you want us to come back and fucking rally around you? You want to throw shots at us? Fuck you, dude. We will not be playing. We know one way or another we won't be playing with you next year. If you don't get AD, you're going to try to get somebody else, but it ain't going to be us. Because like you just said, when they be bounced, if they don't make the playoffs, easy conversation. If they do and get bounced, easy conversation. So it's a lose-lose. Playing hard for those players is a lose-lose situation. Like, yeah, we want to play in the playoffs, but not at LeBron's, not for LeBron. You know what I mean? And then you have a coach who's has no voice. I mean, has he even have an interview? I've never seen. Has he talked this year? Like, seriously, has he talked this year?
Between LeBron and Magic, Luke is just
between Rob Pelinka,
a title.
Between LeVar Ball, he can't nothing.
It's he's
just there, bro. He's literally there telling, "Hey, practice starts, practice ends. Here's the schedule this week.
Yeah,
make sure you're not late for the bus." LeBron, except for you can show up whenever you want.
Yeah.
So I think that those dudes, like, you know, just what you said about LeBron, he doesn't want to go through all that to go through this. Those guys don't either. They really don't.
The next time LeBron sees the Warriors, he wants to be locked and loaded and knowing he has a chance. He knew last year he didn't have a chance. Deep down.
Yeah, but he still carried them there.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, it's a different situation. He was willing to try to carry them. He's not trying to carry these dudes.
They don't want to be carried, though. I don't think you can understate that. I think if he had a locker room full of dudes, when he walks in, are looking at him like, take us.
Take us. But when do we have to kind of be like, all right, you're not, okay, we didn't trade you. You're not traded. We're here now. Let's try to hoop. I think it's more on LeBron than the other guys.
I think you can say that when the front office tries to trade you, not when your best player on your team tries to trade you, not when the team captain tries to trade you. It's a unique situation, right? You can rally around like, hey, the front office didn't want me here, but in this locker room, we all we got. But one of we is the guy who's trying to trade you. That's why it's different, bro.
Right.
It's not that fucking Magic was trying to trade him or Rob Pelinka was trying to trade him. LeBron and his agent were trying to trade you guys. That's different. So how can LeBron look him in the eyes and say, hey, guys, we're going to rally around this situation? They're like, you created it.
Right.
So, no cap. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Now, here's the other thing I was going to say about this, though. If I had to bet, I'm not betting against LeBron until I have a reason to. But
to make the playoffs?
Yeah. My heart tells me.
I think your biggest reason is the Western Conference.
Yeah.
And the Kings.
Yeah.
You want to talk about, I mean, I would never bet against LeBron either, but the situation with the current roster, with the current coach, with how it seems like he doesn't seem too interested.
And the Kings are the exact opposite.
Exact
they want to
opposite.
make the
They're out
playoffs.
there trying to make.
They want to make. They'd be happy to get blown out by Golden State in 4.
And they seem to play Golden State tough.
They play tough. Marvin Bagley is a problem, by the way.
Yeah.
If you ever been watching Marvin Bagley, Marvin Bagley is a problem.
Yeah.
Still should have taken Luka, but Marvin Bagley is a fucking problem.
Yeah. So
they want to make it. Yeah, you're right.
They want to play. They don't. Yeah, they wouldn't mind. They would love to be on the stage to play the Warriors.
You got to jump San Antonio. San Antonio doesn't miss the playoffs.
They just don't.
Just don't. Doesn't matter. Me and you could be playing.
They don't miss the playoffs.
They're not missing the playoffs. Pop figures out a way. It's okay.
Yeah.
Rally around. We'll get it done.
And,
So I mean, yeah, they're 29-31 right now.
Who are their next 5 games? Click on the Lakers' next 5 games.
So the Lakers coming.
They've lost what, 4 in a row?
No, they beat Houston.
But they've lost like 10 of 12 or something.
They've
right?
lost a bunch recently. Yeah, they've had a terrible February. So they play Milwaukee.
It's an L.
At Phoenix. Who knows?
That's a win.
Versus the Clippers.
It's an L.
Denver.
It's an L.
Boston.
It's an L.
Possibly. They're at home. Boston sucks. At the Bulls. At Toronto. That's a major L. Don't go up to Canada and think it's sweet.
Yeah.
Major L.
So it depends.
Brooklyn, Sacramento, Washington.
So this is what I'm saying, bro. Like,
they got a tough season to finish out the year.
I can't really see it.
And look how they finished. Look at their April, though. Listen to this. Their last 5 games of the year, OKC, Golden State, Clippers, Utah, Portland.
It's ugly.
So it's not like, hey, that last week we can go 5-0. You're playing 5 playoff teams. So, yeah,
right.
I think that and you're not going to, again, and the Kings and all those boys are going to be fighting and deserve to get there. So, no cap on that. All right. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Cap or no cap? Well, Mans gets a lot of love amongst the national media throughout this entire fall. I don't feel like I've heard anybody say something about him, but I'm going to go ahead and say it right now. Brad Stevens can't manage superstar players. Hear me out. Butler, right? Low-profile players. He does great things.
So you're
with
saying
them.
this is cap. This is true.
To me, this.
Oh,
this,
no cap.
No cap. No
Yeah,
cap. This is no cap.
He cannot manage superstar players.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Last year with Boston, the last couple of years with Boston, right? And IT was a superstar, but not in that Kyrie breath, right? He was making him a superstar. Does a great job. Gets his star back this year. Tries to work back Gordon Hayward. Having major issues, right? Awesome X's and O's coach. I seriously question if he can handle the big egos. I don't know if that's what he does. Because where has he been during this Celtics free fall? They should not be losing ball games. They should not be 37-23.
Is free fall a strong word, though?
Not a free, but from where you expect. People had them winning 65 games.
Yeah, Simmons had them winning
67 or some shit like that. I don't know what he was on with
Simmons had them winning
Bro,
like
I think he took him in like 67 games, something crazy. Yeah, which was crazy.
I don't see how they can't win 67
yeah,
games.
but I mean 60. If you would have told me they're 60, that's realistic for them.
Yeah.
They're not going to now. Obviously, they've already lost 23. I don't know about free fall, but bro, lack of consistency. Kyrie is going to the media after every game. All of a sudden, Kyrie is like the beacon of leadership and has a long-weathered NBA career of all these different things that he's seen.
Can't wait to talk to Kyrie.
Can't wait, and he can't wait to talk back.
And this is the thing. Okay, now, so your answer to the question is you don't think he can.
I think it's an issue for him.
That's
I don't think he's ever really had to.
Yeah.
And it's new territory. Where he's had success has always been with lesser heralded guys. At
And
Butler, he wasn't
Butler.
getting blue chippers at Butler.
Yeah. Interesting.
You know what I mean? You're winning games with Shelvin Mack and Gordon Hayward, who turned out to be solid players, and then they got to the league. But nobody was checking for Gordon Hayward coming out of high school. There was no ego there. Kyrie is an a beyond established player, not just on the court. He's off the court, a brand.
He's superstar.
Superstar.
Yeah.
In every sense of the word. You know what I mean? And I think that he's having trouble managing. And then not just that, your younger guys who you could talk to like whatever last year. Perfect example, a guy like Tatum. Tatum's trying to become his own player. Jaylen Brown's got a contract coming up. Like those guys are a little bit harder to control, especially because they've had success.
To answer your question on my end, I don't know. That's a really interesting question.
Yeah.
Does it seem like we already know what he does on X's and O's? Does it seem like Kyrie's a little out of control
As a player or as a person?
how he's been going about his business a little bit.
Yeah.
I also think that people don't realize what kind of dude Kyrie really is. He's this is a straight New York gritty, like I think he initially came into the league with this aura that he went to Duke, Uncle Drew, fun-loving guy. I don't know if he's like that.
He's from New Jersey. He's from Jersey.
He's from Jersey,
yeah.
but like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I think he's a little more of like a street dude than people like give him credit for.
Really?
I think he's very intellectual.
Yeah.
I think he's very smart. But like, I think behind closed doors, he's just like he's no different than what's another example that I can use?
Ricky Davis?
Not like a Ricky Davis, but like I think people don't realize how much of like
just more of a street dude than he think that he gives off. Really?
Yeah, I think that's how I would put it.
I think he's actually. I would probably go the opposite. He's more of a like,
but like, okay, how about this?
Deep thinker
what did he say to Boston? Like, I'll take care of myself, or I don't owe shit to anybody.
Yeah,
I think I don't owe shit to anybody more than the opposite of that.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah,
that's what
not
I mean.
necessarily like congenial type.
Yeah, he's more of like, man, I'll do what I want to do.
Right.
I got to leave Boston, and that's what it is. LeBron, fuck LeBron. I want to leave.
Right.
I think he's more of that guy than people realize.
So I think I see what you're saying. I would almost say he's more of a like independent force, like being himself type guy than LeBron's sidekick, and then like a guy who's going to stay quiet and be Mr. Media and say the right things.
But
right? He's more inclined to say whatever the fuck.
He was more that way than he is.
Yeah, for sure.
Then like I remember when he was like, I don't owe nobody shit. People were like shocked, like, whoa, like, Kyrie said that.
Kyrie said that. Oh my god.
Like, yeah, well, wait, that's not like Kyrie would say that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's like, nah, I think you gotta like relax a little bit. Like he's a little more of a
kind of like what. I think like I agree, and I think that's kind of like what Durant tried to do to his image. Remember Durant got all sick of like the nice guy image and kind of took it to like the opposite extreme and kind of just became an asshole to everybody. Yeah. So yeah, kind of along those lines. But Durant was like forcing that narrative. He's like, I'm not this nice guy. Like, look at me. I can be rude to the media.
Right.
Where I almost think he's kind of phony.
Exactly.
I love Kevin Durant as a basketball player, man. I really don't know. I don't like him as a human being. Like, quick side note. Something about him bothers me, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like,
his aura?
His aura is off, bro.
Off?
Yeah, I feel like he's just like, he's one of those people who like people like you, bro. Like, you know, like you're trying. Yeah, people like you, dog.
And they're really trying to like you.
They don't treat you like LeBron.
Yeah.
You couldn't deal with that.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, people like you, bro. They're not looking for like the next thing. Like, yeah, you got a lot of heat for jumping the Warriors. What do you expect?
Yeah.
Like, you don't get that LeBron hate. Like, LeBron fucking makes a wrong turn in the street. That shit's 3-day news cycle.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, yeah. Where was LeBron driving?
You know who else has that? Shout out my guy Max. He always says this. He hates Ben Simmons because of his like persona too. He thinks he hates Ben Simmons and his ego. He thinks Ben Simmons just like walks with his nose up at everybody like I'm the point guard #1 pick type shit.
I think Ben Simmons has a little bit of that, but yeah, I could see that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, what's the next question?
All right, next one.
Cap or no cap?
Cap or no cap? I think I'm gonna switch this out. Well, we can do them both, I guess. But got me thinking. Lauri Markkanen's the best player in his draft class. Will end up being the best player in his draft class. Cap or no cap?
Wow, you just switched it on me crazy.
Yeah, you weren't expecting that one. And I'll give you the class, right?
Yeah, let me get the whole class.
Fultz and Ball are at this point are you know, Fultz especially. There's no chance, no nothing at all.
Yeah.
Lonzo Ball. Here's some competition. Jason Tatum.
Yep.
Competition, De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
Donovan Mitchell.
He's 2 or 3. I think De'Aaron Fox is a monster. Donovan Mitchell is a touch overrated, actually.
I think so too.
But he
shoots like 38%.
Yeah, but he's a good ball player.
Yeah.
Markkanen's right there.
Markkanen. So is it Markkanen or Tatum to you? Or Fox? I think Fox is a point guard, and point guards get better.
Situation because Okay, let me put it like this. I love Lauri Markkanen. He has been passive on this team before.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he was in Boston?
Yeah.
He might disappear completely.
So Boston called you for Tatum for Markkanen. You're saying yes right now.
I think I'm saying yes.
You're driving Lauri to the airport.
Yeah, I think I'm going to drop him off.
Yeah.
So,
hey, man, thank you.
Yeah, I think I'm going to drop him off. But it's very close, and they're both really good. So
what about De'Aaron Fox for Lauri? You're thinking? I'm
thinking because we talk about that. We were just talking about that
point guards, and he's on his way.
And that boy is on his way to being.
And I love his swag
upper echelon.
Too. Yeah.
Do you remember 3 or 4 years ago when it was Russ, John Wall, like when they were coming?
Yeah.
That's like De'Aaron is kind of leading that bunch.
On his way. Yeah, he's not scared.
Before Russell was Russell, he was kind of De'Aaron. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like he could get to a point where he's like, wow, this dude is
De'Aaron Fox
force.
is really fucking good at basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Cap.
But hey, man, listen, if Lauri ends up being the third best behind Donovan Mitchell, who will probably score 25 points a year the rest of his career if he stays in the spot like Utah.
Yep.
And De'Aaron is going for 19, 9, and 5 and long and you know what I'm saying and goes out there, plays the energy, plays D like he does, then I can't be mad at that pick.
Absolutely.
Especially with the hype that Lonzo and Markelle were getting and all that stuff. For those dudes to disappear, that'd be big. But
right now that's some cap.
That's a cap right now.
Some cap right now.
Yeah, it's close though.
Real quick on this one, and then we'll hit the last one. Paul George is the best two-way player in the league right now. So when I say that, it's over the likes of.
Wait, say that one more time.
Paul George,
is
the best true two-way player, which means you're really good at D. Like not just he plays a little bit of D. True two-way player in the league right now. So that would be over Kawhi. Giannis, so you got to factor George's offense versus Giannis's total offensive game and KD.
Yeah, this is cap.
All right.
For me because he's not better. I don't want to put Giannis and him in the same category because they play different.
It's different. Giannis is such a one of a kind type. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like him and Kawhi are essentially the same interchangeable in a team.
Yeah.
Their game's not the same, but they're interchangeable.
He's probably a better shooter than Kawhi. Kawhi might be a better defender.
Right. And he might be able to go to the basket a little better, whatever, right? So I'm going to say Cat because I don't think he's better than Kawhi.
You're taking Kawhi over him.
Yeah. But, I mean, dude, Paul George has been playing out of his mind. But I think Kawhi, when he's on his shit, he's almost the best in basketball, period.
So where's KD on that list for you?
He's right there too.
Yeah.
His D is good, but it's not
it's not Kawhi, Paul George level.
Yeah, exactly.
Those dudes are upper echelon, top tier defenders.
Kawhi Leonard can lock you up. Period.
Period.
You will be struggling to score to get by him or do anything.
Yeah. You see him the other day in the Spurs game?
In the playoffs? Man,
he's a problem.
You've seen that clip of LeBron when he sees Kawhi checking in?
He wants to know. It's just shift.
He's just man,
I don't want to play with this dude.
Such a grind.
Yeah.
Even, I obviously haven't played any NBA ball, but even in pickup, when you're playing a dude and he's really trying hard on D and he's playing good D, you're like, man, get this guy away
especially when he's relentless like that.
Yes, get him away from me. I can only imagine in the league, in the playoffs. So it's Cat, but it's super close. But because Paul George has been out of his mind.
Out of his mind.
Yeah.
All right, last one. And this one, all right, I'll just give it to you. NBA, right? Current seeding for the NBA as far as how the playoffs go. They take the top 8 from each conference, put in the brackets. You go, traditional seeding there. A lot of talk around this topic recently. I think it's a good time to bring it up right now. NBA should go 1 through 16 for the playoffs. So you take the top 16 teams. You see them 1 through 16, put them in a bracket like that. Conferences no longer matter for playoffs. And the reason I say that now would be a team like Charlotte, Detroit, who are 29-30 and 28-32, but currently making the playoffs, while teams like, we just talked about Sacramento, who's 31-29, San Antonio, things like that.
I would say Cap, because this is completely personal. I like that tradition of the East-West.
Really?
Yeah, I'm into that. So, And I understand there's been a really long stretch now where the West has been super stacked. The East is starting to get there, and it could switch. And I just like the two silos. Like, we've already abolished the All-Star game.
Yeah.
Like, there's no competition there between East West. I like the East-West split up.
You like the traditional stuff?
Yeah, I do. I really do.
So I always think back. I think it was a year after Golden State.
Because at the end of the day, in the East and the West, there's only probably the top 4 teams can really win the championship.
Yeah.
It'd be different if it was like, say, if it was the NFL and that last seed has a shot to actually go out and win the Super Bowl. Like, the 8th seed in the East or the West isn't going to do anything. Probably the 7. You know what I mean? Like, maybe the 4th seed can actually get to the finals. But, like, it's almost like, all right, you made the playoffs and let's play a little extra basketball. But they don't have a real shot. Like, if you were leaving out a team that had a real shot to win the NBA championship, then I'd be like, you know what? Abolish it.
So there was one year.
You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. There was one year I think Golden State won 47 games in the West and didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, no.
And there was a team in the East that won like 39 and made it. Like, I guess, you know, like that. And I'm all for the tradition because it wouldn't be the conference finals anymore. It'd be semifinals, things like that.
Yeah. But what's up? Like, okay, outside of. What was that? Portland 2 years ago that lost to 8-1? Were they even a 1? It was like 7-2. Portland got smacked by somebody.
In what?
Remember when Portland was like number 2 in the West? Was that last year?
That was last year. Yeah,
they lost
that was
to who?
last year. They lost to
weren't they number 2?
Yeah, they were number 3.
They lost to the Pelicans.
They lost to the Pelicans. Got smacked around too.
They were number 3 though.
Yeah, they were number 3.
And that was a big a big uproar. Like, oh, they lost. The number 3 seed lost to the 7.
Right.
But like, how many times has the 8 lost to the 1? Once? Was it Dallas?
Dallas versus
lost to Golden
Dallas
State?
to Golden State. Yeah.
But like, that just never happens, right? So it's a personal reason. But
so you just don't think it's going to change anything as far as how it shakes out? I guess it's just more for like the teams who do win 44 games. Like, there's going to be a team in the West that has a much better record than the AC in the East.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, okay, would you rather watch, you as a fan, would you rather watch Sacramento in the playoffs or Orlando?
Yeah, I mean, the first couple rounds of the East playoffs are trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'd rather watch Sacramento be, the 14th seed and play, I don't know, Toronto or something like that in the first round. Then watch Orlando play Milwaukee.
I think eventually the parity starts to even up a little bit, and both conferences are strong. But this just period is where
I don't know. You took LeBron out the East, and it got even more dicey.
The East is tough at the top.
It is real tough at the top. It's ugly at the bottom.
But yeah, no, I hear you. Where are you at?
Charlotte's 28 and 32.
What would you do?
I go 1-16. I think it's time.
Just give me all the best teams.
Give me the best teams. Give me the 16 best teams in the NBA. Because again, Charlotte, I love Kemba at 28 and 32. Shouldn't make the playoffs. You know what I mean? They should not be. They could finish 4 games under, and they're still going to make the playoffs. So for me, that's a problem.
I hear that.
Yep.
Is that it?
No cap.
No cap. That's it. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. That's all I got.
Man, glad to be back in here.
Absolutely.
No doubt. We had like it was like 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off.
Yeah.
Might have been like a month almost.
Super Bowl's been like a month. Yeah.
Yeah. The last video show might have been a month, but I'm glad we had a couple people jump on the live stream. We're in the chats. Thank you guys for hopping on. I appreciate that as always. For Nick the Quick, I am your host, Sean Little. No Ketchup Chicago, for Chicago, by Chicago. Listen up. Man, good to be back in here, bro.
Yeah.